welcome to Spittin Hedge Betting Talk, hosted by Kenneth from the Competitive Hedge Podcast and Tyson Cole, aka Spittin Picklets. This is our third official stream, and we're excited to chat about some hockey headlines before highlighting some of the best hockey cappers in the space. Tyson, how you doing today, buddy?
Good, man. We went on a little bit of a streak there. I was 8 straight days in the green, and we got our first losing night last night. All thanks to those stupid Devils.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. 2023 has been a real kick in the ass to start, but it's not because plays have been missing by a lot. I have counted in the last week, I've had 5 plays all missed by a single point. So
getting hooked on everything.
Just hasn't been going my way. I even had a buddy yesterday who I sent him a 3-teamer, and he was supposed to take Knicks minus 4.5, but he got him at 3.5, and the Knicks, of course, won by 4. So he cashes the parlay. I don't because of a single point, and so now I'm here ready to chat about some NHL. And I was telling you before we went live, I get to go see good old Connor Bedard tonight in person in Regina. So back-to-back Hatties for the kid coming off the World Juniors. So it's gonna be a good night.
Yeah, you're lucky. I mean, I can't wait till he's a Canuck next year and I get to watch him all the time. So you enjoy him while you have him now. I'll have him next year.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate part about living in Saskatchewan. You don't get that NHL content. So anytime your dub team's good, you're just like, oh, I'm fired up.
Your dub team's not even good. You just have one good player.
You know what, though? In comparison to last year, I went to see the Pats twice, and I think they lost by a combined like 14-3. They were really bad last year. So
that's terrible.
And that was even with Bedard on the roster. That's how bad it was. So we'll recap quickly how last week went. It was not a good week for the stream overall. I do have to say the one team that is really in my shit list right now is the St. Louis Blues.
I thought you were this worldly sophisticated guy, but you're just a fraud.
Complete and utter frauds. I've taken the Blues back-to-back streams. Neither has hit. So they are not going to be played tonight. To be honest, we didn't have a lot of winners last week, full transparency. But you pushed last week. So you got the Vegas and Kings.
Yep.
Not bad. We had Firefighter Bets gave us Bunting over 2.5. He finished on 2. Dusty gave us Shabbat. He finished on 2. Luke gave us Eichel to score, yet Vegas only scored 1 goal, and it was Marchessault. DeCucci gave us Oilers. They lost in OT. Lone winner last week, though, shout out to Walker Bailey, gave us the Kraken puck line at plus 220. Crazy that the plus 220 of all things was the one that hit.
That's the only one that hits.
So not our best week. We do have we got some more cappers today that I'm sure are looking to avenge some of those losing plays from last week, including ourselves, because as hosts we're 0-3-1 right now. So I have to step up, especially in that department. But we're going to chat about some of the players that have either been disappointing or surprising to start the year. We'll quickly talk about the slate, and then we'll get right into bringing on those guest cappers. So let's start with biggest player surprises this year. Give me a couple for you that have been the most surprising players for you in the NHL this year.
Oh, surprising. Well, see, I kind of want to go to the goalie market and go Linus Ullmark for the Boston Bruins.
Yeah.
He was never supposed to be the guy when he was in Buffalo. He was honestly horrible in Buffalo, and then that's why they got rid of him, and now he's just shining in Boston. Like he's got a 22-2-1 record. Like, where did that come from? Maybe the upgrade on defense, but I thought this is Jeremy Swayman's crease to run away with and own. So that's one of my biggest surprises for sure.
I would have Ullmark in there as well. I mean, Jesus, 22-2-1 on the year. I mean, Boston hadn't lost a regulation home game until the other night against Seattle. So they've just been a wagon in general. I'm surprised that they have been this good. I thought when they brought back Bergeron for another year that, okay, they'll go like maybe be like the 7-8 seed. They'll scrap it out in the playoffs. And now we're talking about them being the best team in the league. So that's been a pleasant surprise. Not a pleasant surprise for me, but one that has been surprising. William Nylander actually has been a guy for me this year. 26-year-old. He played 81 games last year, finished on 80 points. Right now, he's projected to finish on 90 points this year. but it's been the goal scoring for me that's been so surprising because last year he was a 34 goal scorer. Now he's on pace for 42 this year. He's kind of made up for the fact that Matthews hasn't scored a lot for them this year. I mean, Toronto, we know, is going to be a regular season wagon. What they do in the playoffs, we'll have to wait and see. But
yeah, good luck against Tampa this year.
I'm just surprised, is all, that he's going to be a 90-point guy potentially this year. Mm-hmm. So what do you think of Nylander's performance this year?
Well, he's quietly been maybe their best forward. I know Marner's healthy. He leads the team in points and everything. But Nylander's kind of carrying the top line the last week without Matthews, and Nylander has more goals than Matthews this year. How weird is that to say? The guy who just put up 60 last year. I love Nylander. He's been huge for cash and shots on goal props. Yeah, he's actually tied with Matthews right now for points.
Pretty crazy.
That's crazy. And you're paying him 6.9 and Matthews almost 12. I'll take Nylander.
Great value right now on Nylander. Who's another one that's been surprising?
Well, who's your other one?
I got Erik Karlsson.
Okay. So I'll go with the one that I thought you were going to go with.
Okay.
Who I think should be leading in the Norris race, and that's Josh Morrissey. Because you haven't seen this from him ever. What Rick Bowness has done to him has just completely made him into an elite defenseman. At one point, he was leading the Jets in points, and they got a lot of stars on that team, like Kyle Connor, Mark Scheifele, Pierre-Luc Dubois. They're all having career seasons, but Morrissey was at the top. Let me pull up his stats real quick. Yeah, he's got 8 goals, 39 points, 47 points in 43 games for a defenseman who wasn't an offensive guy before and just molded into this. I'm impressed with him. He's got my Norris vote for sure.
I mean, this is kind of more on the funny story side of things, but Morrissey, so when I was in high school, I lived in Prince Albert here in Saskatchewan, and he was on the Raiders WHL team at the same time that Draisaitl was there. Okay. And there was an infamous trade where they sent both of those guys to, I think it was Kelowna, and the city almost rioted because they were finally good. PA's never been a great WHL team, but one of my best friends actually tutored Morrissey in high school in English and thought that he was actually a complete moron. So the fact that he's turned out to be a great NHL player is surprising to me, more so because of that story, because he's kind of good for him, the fact that he's the Norris leading guys this year.
I mean, I guess you don't have to be smart to be in the NHL.
No, I think that's been proven now, especially, but it's more so one of those funnier things to me. But Karlsson, for me, the fact that he's getting back to Karlsson form. I mean, a number of years ago, we were talking about him as a top 5, top 3 player probably in the entire league when he was in Ottawa. Goes to San Jose, looked like his career was going there to die. Now, the team's still dying. But that being said, he's already got 56 points this year. Had he played a full schedule last year, he would have been on pace for 56 as well. So already at that number right now, I just hope that he stays healthy. I love Karlsson. I think he's one of the best guys in the league, and so he was a surprise for me. Now on the disappointing side, I'll go to Matthews just because by Matthews standards, I think he's having a disappointing year after what he did last year. Because we're talking about a 60-goal guy a year ago that's on pace for just under 40 goals right now. Mm-hmm. So I would consider it a down year for him. Not that he's still not a top, 10 player in the league, but just from his standards, I would consider it a disappointing year for him. Who would you have as a disappointment?
Well, I agree on Matthews for sure. He's supposed to be top of the leaderboards in points and goals, and he's just not there. I mean, like you said, you can't really blame the guy. He's tied for second on points, but he should be higher, right? I actually think both my players are from the same team.
Okay.
And that's Jonathan Huberdeau of the Calgary Flames.
Oof. Yeah.
Last year, he was second in points in the whole league, tied with Gaudreau. And now he comes to Calgary. He's got 29 points in 40 games. Like you said, not terrible, but not good for his standards, right? I just don't think he meshes on on Calgary right now. It usually takes teams like half a season or like new players half a season to kind of gel with the new team. And also, like, he's on the top line with Lindholm, and then he goes down to the line with Kadri, who I'll talk about later. And then he'll go down to the line with Backlund. He's shifting all over. Haven't found a spot for him. I don't think he really likes Daryl Sutter because Daryl Sutter's like a super hard coach, whereas last year Andrew Burnett was more of like the players coach.
Yeah.
And he excelled, second in the league in points. And now a harder coach, not doing too hot.
Yeah, I would agree on that one. He was one that I had in mind as well as a potential disappointment. Another one, this is an Eastern player, Barkov. I mean, he's on pace to finish with 72 points after having 88 points in just 67 games last year. Just not great. He hasn't been scoring goals mainly. I think he's only on like 10 goals this year, which is pretty absurd for a guy. And you see it in the standings, right? Florida, there's a reason why they are near the bottom of their own division because he just hasn't been performing. I think there's bigger issues. I think that Kachuk trade is a big reason why as well, because I feel like Huberdeau just kind of made that team what it was. But I don't know. That would be my other disappointment. Who's your second one? I think Kadri was mentioned.
So I'm going to do a mid-show pivot, but I wanted to touch on well, Florida Panthers fans hate us right now because we just chirped Barkov, we just chirped Huberdeau, and yeah, you just said how they're at the bottom of their division, so they definitely hate us right now. I'm pivoting. I'm going to Jack Campbell for the Oilers because I was going to go Kadri. He hasn't been great, but we'll go Jack Campbell here because he's the big free agent acquisition. They paid him 5 times 5 to be their starting goalie, and he excelled on Toronto last year. And then he goes to get his big ticket in Edmonton, and he sucks. Like, he's losing his job to Stuart Skinner, who was highly touted for a while, but never really found his form. Now he's kind of starting to find it, but that might be, he just looks better than Campbell, not necessarily Stuart Skinner's that good,
Yeah.
He's got a 10-8-1 record. Oh, sorry. It's not updated as of last night, but so I guess 11-8-1 record, 3.59 goals against, and 0.879 save percentage, which is brutal.
Yeah, that's not good.
He's supposed to be the savior, and he's terrible.
Yeah, I would agree. There's been a lot of disappointing players this year. I think we highlighted some of the bigger ones, and we don't like to be too negative on this show, especially since we're looking to put out some winners now on the betting side of things. But
I have a question for you that I wanted to ask.
Yeah,
and it kind of goes with the Oilers here. So everyone's talking that Connor McDavid, front runner for the Hart for sure. Can you give it to him if the Oilers don't make the playoffs? They're not in right now, I don't think.
No, they aren't. I guess, who do you go to then? Funny enough, second in points is Draisaitl. So
yeah, sorry, they're second, or they're the very last wild card spot.
I think if I had to go to someone that wasn't McDavid, I'd probably go Pasternak. Because he's 4 points second in goals, and if Boston's the number 1 team. I mean, it kind of depends. Like at year end, how big of a gap are we talking here? Because we're talking 24 points right now between him and Pasternak. So, that's a tough one. I feel like I think I have faith that Edmonton's going to get one of those last spots, and then it'll be easy to just say, well, he's the reason why they're in the playoffs in the first place because they're actually a terrible hockey team outside of him and Draisaitl. So, I think
I agree. Like, I think for sure he's the front runner. He should win. But if they don't make the playoffs, how can you be an MVP when you're not even in the playoffs? What does it matter?
Yeah, I agree. It would be very tough to go that route if they don't make the playoffs. Hopefully they do, just for that perspective. I mean, I'm not an Oilers guy by any stretch of the imagination, but hopefully they get in with McDavid. Otherwise, there's going to be some tough conversations in Edmonton this summer, I'm sure. Now, we got a ton of games today. I mean, we're talking 13. There's already one started, but we're going to have 13 games happening. So instead of going through like game by game how we normally would, just for time's sake, What is your give me a couple that you like. Like, what's your favorite one, and then maybe another one that you're on today?
Well, I'll start off with the Canucks and Panthers over 6.5. So
Okay.
the Canucks are 7-3 to the over the last 10. Panthers are 5-5. But if you look at the goalie matchup, we got Spencer Martin and Bobrovsky. Those guys let in a ton of goals. They've gone over 6.5, 3 of the last 5. I'm just pulling up their goalie stats right now. Yeah. Spencer Martin, 3.74 goals against average. Sergei Bobrovsky, 3.28 goals against average. Oh, like, just if they have an average game, the game's over.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm banking on tonight.
I like that one. I mostly like it because I'm not like a big Canucks guy by any stretch, and I think that
Me neither.
I think they'll definitely give up goals, even if it is Martin. And I don't know, Florida being at home as well helps. I mean, really for this one, I think Florida's going to score 4 or 5. You just need the Canucks to put a couple in as well, and then it's going to hit. So that would be the route. Because I thought about Florida in regulation as a play today, or even like puck lines plus 115. But just given their recent form with Florida, I stayed away. I think I'm actually going to the Leafs well today.
Ooh.
I think we're going to play them straight up money line at plus 130.
I like it. They've
Now,
won
I
4
think
straight.
that they're going to go to overtime or shootout if they do win this game. But, you know, they did just lose to Detroit, but it was on a back-to-back. I think they took them lightly because they'd won like 9 out of the last 10 against them. We both know Detroit isn't very good. And they'd won 3 straight games prior to that. Obviously, Boston, they just lost their first game in regulation this year. But Toronto head-to-head, actually, they've won 4 straight. And so I kind of like Toronto to pick up just the straight-up money line today at plus 130. I think the value is there. And Boston maybe a little bit rattled after getting shut out at home to Seattle. So
yeah,
I'm going to roll with Toronto. That's not my favorite play of the day, but it's one of the 2 that I'm definitely looking at. What was your second play?
Well, I love that play. Like, I am completely kind of buying into now that the Bruins have lost on home ice, they're going to have a little losing streak on home ice. And Toronto's getting Matthews back today. I definitely like that one. I actually, another play was in this game, and that was the over 5.5. You can get it at minus 130. Leafs are 7-3 to the over in the last 10, and the Bruins are 5-5. They've gone over 5.5 in 8 of their last 9 matchups. I know I just pumped Olmark's tires, but I don't really care who's in net for either team. Like, I like the historical and how they've been doing recently. And when I was doing like my player prop research and everything, all these guys, like all the top guys, had a ton of points. Like, Tavares has 6 points in his last 4. Marner has 8 points in his last 3. Matthews has 7 points in his last 4. Nylander has a 6 game point streak with 7 points. Marchand has 9 points in last 6 against them. I could just keep going. All of them have a crazy streak going, and I'm just going to ride with that.
Okay. I like it. I mean, I don't love Allmark or Murray, like, betting against them. I'll say I like betting against Murray more, but I think if you can get that 3-3 head into a shootout deal, like I think it's going to go to, then you're in a good spot. So I don't hate it.
Yeah, I didn't think it was going to be a popular pick, but I'm going to go off like based off history.
You're kind of just going based off of how recent players have played, and just banking on the fact that they're all going to be going, which I get. I think there's definitely some value to be had there. I think if I'm going to pick my favorite play of the day, I think I got to keep riding with the Kraken. They're minus 240 against Chicago, but I'm taking the puck line today. You can get it at plus 105. Martin Jones, he's won 6 straight starts. Seattle's been on an absolute tear on the road. So I don't know. I really like the value. They also get Mrazek today, who's 3-10-1 on the year. Pretty nice goaltending matchup. Having watched plenty of Mrazek games over the year, I know he's not very good. So I kind of like Seattle to go in and win fairly comfortably today.
I definitely like that. So they've won 7 straight, and Chicago's won 3 straight, but that's going to be their biggest win streak of the year. Chicago's not a good team. I know they're getting Patty Kane back, but come on. 15-4-2 road record for the Kraken too. Love it. Oh, Martin Jones, by the way, he has 2 in a row, or 2 shutouts in a row, I think.
Jesus.
Because he shut out the Bruins, and then which is impressive just by itself. He's another impressive player this season. 25-3. Yeah, he shut out Montreal and Boston back to back.
All right. I like it. So we've got a couple of our favorite plays out there. We obviously have a couple cappers sitting in the waiting room that we want to get to and some of their picks. Now, we do have a couple that I know couldn't make it today, so I'll kind of sprinkle these in throughout. And so I'll start with the first one, which was a goalie prop. Shout out to NHL Goalie Props on Twitter. He gave us Kemper over 26.5 shots today. Like saves. Yes. Sorry. I like it. I think it's obviously his name is NHL Goalie Props, so I imagine that he's pretty dialed in on his goaltending props.
I trust him.
So what do you think of it?
Yeah, I mean, I really haven't looked into any like goalie props or anything. I know Konechny shoots a lot and he plays for Philly, and I know Kemper's had a really good year. So that's something I'm not going to do any real research in. I'm just going to trust the man.
Yeah, when it came to that one, I was actually looking at Philly today as a potential upset. Now they have won 7 of their last 10, so I kind of like the goalie prop because assuming that I like Philly, then that means they're going to have a ton of shots. So,
Hey, the plays together for sure.
So let's head over to one of our first guys in the waiting room. We've got Takuchi sitting there waiting, one of our favorite guys. I'm hoping that he's ready because I don't see his camera on. But Takuchi, are you good to go? Oh, God. He must have gone out for a cigarette. Okay, we'll go back to Takuchi when I see his camera's back on. I think that the plug is ready to go. He is also sitting there in the waiting room. So let's bring him on. How's it going, buddy?
Yeah.
Oh.
Goats are muted.
I can't hear you.
Nope.
1 second. Let me take my headphones out.
There we go.
Gotcha.
All right. Can you guys hear me better now?
Go for it.
All right. So first, thanks for inviting me on the show, guys.
Thanks for coming.
This is strictly hockey, right?
Yep.
Okay. So I'm gonna take you guys to the Columbus Blue Jackets and the Red Wings game then. I'm gonna give you guys the over.
Tread lightly.
What'd you say?
Tread lightly. We got a Red Wings fan in here.
Yeah. We got so I'm gonna take the over, man. Keep it simple in this one. Columbus Blue Jackets, now lost 3 straight games, and we know these boys have a lot of players out, right? And they've been leaning on Elvis a lot, and so there's no wonder why he gives up 4 goals a game, right? I mean, he is a bad goalie, but these guys, they're also 2-15 on the road this year. I mean, they're just giving up goals, man, and leaning on Elvis so much as already not that strong of a goalie is just, it's tough, man, on any goalie. The Red Wings, they just beat up on the Leafs. They dropped 7 goals on the Jets. Now won their last 2 games. They're home here where they're 11-8-3. We know they don't play the best defense. So I see the Columbus Blue Jackets sneak a couple in, and I have Detroit down for at least 4 goals tonight. So I think we can hit this over, man. I really do. So I'm going to take the over 6.5. If you feel more comfortable taking Detroit's team total, I'm not against that neither.
I mean, but I'm only a little bit biased by it, so I definitely like the play today. Detroit also having Husso in, that would be my only concern with the over because he's playing at home. But I think, as you said, if Detroit goes and pots 4 or 5, I don't see Husso getting a shutout by any means. So I like the over there. What do you think, Tyson?
Yeah, I mean, both teams are pretty good to the over. Was the over 6.5? I didn't.
I got 6.5 down in my notes. I can't pull up my book right now.
Okay,
but it might have been at 6. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got 6.5 at -105. So
Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty good. Yeah, I have stats written down for the over 5.5. So they've cleared that in 6 to 7. So why can't they get one more?
Right.
I like it.
Okay.
Hey, let's just get 3-3, go to OT. Detroit
Mhm.
scraps.
Hey, man, I would
nice
love that.
4-3 winner.
Is
I'm
who
all
put
in
the
on
fan-
the. I'm all in on it.
I would love it, man. I'm considering on putting the Red Wings in regulation tonight with a parlay. But man, these Blue Jackets sometimes, man, they just don't know how to. They don't know they're supposed to lose certain games.
Mhm.
So
They know
I don't know.
Bedard's coming up, right?
Huh?
They know Bedard's coming up, so they're not too concerned about winning games.
Very true. Very true.
Well, I'll see Connie tonight in person. Let's see if we can get a hat trick for him. Let's get 4 or 5 from Detroit and a couple from Columbus. Red Wings win in a nice high scoring affair.
Mhm.
Where can the folks find your work? Promote yourself.
I mostly on Twitter. I'm obviously the plug on Twitter. I run a Discord called The Outlet. You guys can check that out too. It's free. I do run a VIP in there. But most of the time, man, I'm on Twitter. I do a show on Twitter, Spaces all the time called The Plug Talk. You guys got to check that out. It's pretty good, man. I got cappers that come in there, and basically we just break down the slate. It's a good community. It's fun, and we give out some winners. So
Awesome, buddy. Yeah,
That's what we're all about, putting out winners. So I'll definitely hop on there as well in the coming weeks for sure. Appreciate you hopping on, man. Let's get these W's tonight.
yes, sir. Sounds good.
All right, now I know we have this guy in the waiting room, but I'm going to give a quick pick before we get him on here.
Ooh.
He's got one of the best mustaches out there, and it's definitely not Tyson or myself, so can't wait to have him on. But other one, Josh Elliott, good friend of mine, also a Red Wings fan, funny enough, but he's a good capper in the space.
All two of you.
Good hockey plays. Carolina in regulation at -120 tonight was his favorite play of the day. They are taking on Pittsburgh tonight. I like the spot for it. I know that Carolina just ended their 4-game losing streak. They knocked off Columbus 6-2 the other day. I do like Anderson quite a bit over DeSmith in the goaltending matchup. I almost thought about sprinkling Carolina puck line, but I think it's a little bit safer to go in regulation. And I mean, Pittsburgh's only won one of their last 4 road games, so they haven't been great on the road recently. What do you think of it?
Yeah, I liked it. What I have written down, Carolina's won 6 of the last 7 matchups. Just going in deeper into that. Oops. They've actually only won 3 of those 6 games in regulation. So Pittsburgh plays them tough, but they're on the back-to-back. The home and road record is completely in favor of the Hurricanes, 12-4-6, whereas Pittsburgh is 10-9-2. And like you said, Canes just lost 4 in a row, finally got back in the win column. I can see them continuing to roll.
Yeah, I like the regulation at the -120. Good value there for sure. Now, enough of teasing having this guy on the show. Let's finally get him in here. We got to get Gucci in here. The guy's electric. How we doing, buddy? Oh, he's muted. He's muted. No.
Uh-oh. Goats are muted.
Goats
That's
are
my
muted.
bad. That's my bad.
Okay, first of all, before we get into it, West Virginia.
Yeah, we needed it. Needed it. Like I said, that was going to turn the momentum around, and it's going well so far today. Hopefully it can continue as we turn into the night slate on the ice.
All right, what have you got for us?
I'm going to the late slot. I'm going the Vegas Golden Knights to get it done on the money line against the Edmonton Oilers. For those who don't know, it was Connor McDavid's birthday last night, and they beat the shit out of the Sharks. You know, shark fin soup, just 7 goals. Really just blew them out of the water. I have it on pretty good authority that the boys were getting into the cocktails last night to celebrating the captain's birthday. Might have had a few pops, kept it professional as hockey players always do, you know what I mean? But they had some fun, and I think that's going to, obviously it's a back-to-back for them in the first place, but tired legs are going to make this matchup a little bit harder. You guys talked about it. It's a 2-man show in Edmonton. Draisaitl and McDavid are pulling the horses. It's a 2-man horse, and the cart's really not got the best wheels behind it. So although Vegas has been struggling a little bit of late, I think that they can kind of button it up a little bit. Bruce Cassidy is a coach I really respect. I like what he does system-wise, and I think this is probably a little bit of a low-scoring game. They tighten up the shirt and win 4-2 or something along those lines. So give me Vegas. Give me the nightlife to be hampering the Oilers. Birthday boy for McDavid was yesterday. They're going to be a letdown spot today. So give me the Vegas Golden Knights minus 120. Seems like a good price, all things considered.
I love it.
So two things on this one. First of all, I think DeCucci's a little bit upset about Edmonton last Saturday not taking care of business against Colorado. So I think there's a revenge spot here as well for like, hey, you guys let me down last week. We're going to jump on Vegas. And this is the hard-hitting info that we need for this stream. Connie's birthday last night. They easily got after it. Bottle service for sure. Hopped on the plane late. Got in late. Probably didn't sleep great. They're just in a bad spot. And you know what? They're probably thinking about round 2 tonight. Let's be honest. They're in Vegas. Like, you think that they haven't already called up Hakkasan or whatever other club they're thinking of heading up the game? Like, they've already got VIP tables set up for Connie. So,
they got a little 3 days off too. They don't play again till Wednesday. So that's another thing, or a Tuesday. So that's another thing that I'm looking at. Obviously, I don't. It's not usually the biggest deal, but under the circumstances, I think Vegas has some value, fellas. So
for sure,
I don't want to keep you guys too long. I appreciate you having me on. Like I said last time, just follow me over on Twitter. I'll be live tweeting some of these games. TCU's handling business, so I'm going to be having a good day. Might be a fun night ahead. Let's hope so anyways.
Go night.
Appreciate you hopping on, buddy. It was electric, as always.
Appreciate you guys having me. Great show you guys are doing here, man. I'll be here every week.
Hell yeah. Thanks, buddy. Okay.
I'll be honest, they might have to scrape Draisaitl off the floor of Hakkasan with a shovel tonight.
They might. I don't think they're going to be able to.
After they're done with this game, and I liked Vegas too. I really did. When he was talking about it, like they have won 5 of their last 7 home games. So they haven't been a great home team all year. They've been probably the best road team in the league outside of Seattle, but
New Jersey
they've taken care of business at home recently. I'm hoping that Edmonton loses this one tonight for them.
No, for sure. I love the play. I didn't even think about like McDavid's birthday last night. They probably flew into Vegas late last night and just partied. So they're probably feeling it this morning. And then they're usually like in the NFL, you talk about, it's like a look ahead game. So they'll play like a shittier opponent or whatever because they won't play him that tough because they have the tougher opponent the night before, the next week. I'm thinking Edmonton's just thinking about the drinks tonight. They're not thinking about this game. They don't care. So I love that golden.
Have you been to Vegas yet?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't care about this game.
Yeah, no, not at all.
So funny enough, I'm heading to Vegas in July. I got a bachelor party the 7th to the 11th, and then my wife's meeting me there the 11th to the 15th. So I'm going to be 9 days in Vegas.
That's
probably
too many.
Yeah, I know. It was the timing of it was really poor on the bachelor party. I was hoping to at least have like a fly home for a few days, then head back around 2 to recoup the loss at the blackjack table. But I don't think I'm going to be that lucky. So you might find me just like in MGM Grands, just like plastered to the floor by day 7. So we'll see how that goes. Now we got to chat about another play. I wish this guy could have joined us here today because he was on first week. Absolutely electric guy, Boomtown Pod. He's got one of the best MMA podcasts in Canada. I think he's 3rd best podcast in Canada is his ranking. He gave us a UFC play before he gave us his NHL play. So Raquel Pennington to win at plus 125. I'm not a big UFC guy. I couldn't even tell you who she's facing tonight, but it did look like a relatively good card for fight night. It's Strickland versus Imanov. So I like the play, given he's given us a nice plus money winner. She's 14-8 on the year, taking on Vieira, who's 13-2. I think I'm going to sprinkle it. I got to trust the guy with the MMA pod.
Just like the goalie props, I don't know anything about UFC either, so I'm just blind tailing.
I'll blind tail this tonight. I think as soon as we're done here, I'm going to take the winnings from a couple of college basketball plays this morning and maybe sprinkle it on Pennington. But the other one that he gave us, he's also a Canucks fan. Gave us Horvat to score at plus 120.
How we give you any explanation?
So
I like it. I like it. I'm pretty sure Bo Horvat's also sitting at 199 career goals.
Oh,
So
really?
one more for the 200. Yep.
Whew. That might be
Yep.
a really good spot.
I quite like it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he scored in every other game against the Panthers as well. I'm just confirming. But yeah, I mean, if I like the over, someone's got to score to hit that, right? Oh,
Yeah, you guys are kind of in shambles right now, so I think if anyone's going to score, it's going to be Horvat.
Hey,
so.
we've lost 3 in a row, but we've scored 4 in all 3 of those games.
So what you're saying is we're averaging 4 goals per game in our last 3, so we're rolling.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if we're rolling, we're scoring.
Couple games that we haven't really chatted about because we wanted to get into the pick side of things, but I was curious your thoughts on. First one was Buffalo Nashville. That felt like a tough spot because Nashville's minus 130 at home, but Buffalo's won 4 of their last 5 road games. Also won 3 of their last 5 in Nashville. What do you think of this spot?
This is the only one I didn't have anything for. I can't call it. I don't know. Yeah, both teams don't have a good home or away record. Both teams are on losing streaks. I don't know. I can't call it. Do we have the goalie confirmation for either?
For that one, I saw Saros earlier and Luukkonen. 9-4-1 record.
Luukkonen. Oh yeah, Luukkonen's confirmed. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have a side. I think if I'm gonna bet this game, I'm gonna bet some shots on goal props for Buffalo. Because Nashville, ever since that Carolina game where they won but allowed 67 shots on goal, nuts. I don't know how they won that game. I was on the Canes, so I'm a little butthurt about it still, obviously. But ever since then, they allowed the second most shots to forwards or defensemen, anyone, only behind Anaheim. So that's my only lean in the game. I can't pick a side. Don't make me.
Other one that I wanted to chat about because we haven't yet. It was kind of a gross one for me. Ottawa and Colorado. Colorado's minus 155 at home, so it's a gross. Like I don't want to take them on the money line, but I also don't want to bet Ottawa just because they beat Arizona.
Fair.
What do you think?
I can't back this Colorado team right now. I don't know what's going on. They're like a one-line team. It's McKinnon, Rantanen, Lehkonen, and then that's and Makar obviously, but that's pretty much it. Like they screwed us over last week with the Oilers, but then haven't won since. They lost 2 in a row. So I don't know. I can't back that team, and I'm not crazy enough to take the Sens over the Avs. The only thing I would be looking at is like maybe some shots on goal props. Again, going back to it, Makar is cleared in his most recent games against him, and so is Brady Tkachuk. So those would be my 2 targets.
I think I would maybe sprinkle Colorado money line with like another play, but like because I'm going Seattle puck line, I would maybe like just do a Colorado Seattle 2-teamer.
Yeah,
a straight up money line.
That's pretty good.
240 and the minus 155 probably takes us to plus money, or at least do it.
I think it would.
I don't know. I can't back Ottawa. I mean, I know a lot of people backed Arizona the other day, and they lost 5-3. But I'm not going to exactly go all in on Ottawa because they beat a team that's lost 7 straight games now.
Yeah. No, I agree.
And now Arizona gets Minnesota tonight. Another game that we didn't really talk about. Minnesota's minus 360 tonight.
See, that's just unbettable. You can't. They've won 9 of the last 10 and 13 out of the last 15 against the Coyotes, but that's not something you can bet. They lost 7 in a row. I'm not paying the juice at minus 360.
Even puck line, you're looking at minus 140.
It's gross.
And then you get an overtime Minnesota win, and you're like, this is stupid.
Yeah, this is ridiculous.
Especially since Arizona's actually been a decent road team, and they've kept it close a lot of the year.
They started off really good as a road team, but now they're 6-17-3. So So not very
Good
good.
road team at covering. Is that? Can I revise it to that? Or
Yeah, I don't have that stat, so we'll go with it.
okay, we'll roll with it for now.
Yeah.
Any other games we want to talk about? Any player props that you have on your side?
I kind of touched on them. One of my favorite props of the day is Sebastian Aho for the Hurricanes, over 2.5 shots. He's cleared in his last 6 matchups against the Penguins, and the Penguins allow the second most shots on goal to centers. And they just played last night. There's no more Pacioretty for Aho he's not going to steal Aho shots, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's probably my favorite play in that game. I don't know why I like it. It's not really it's not a good matchup. I never target these players against Boston, but I like Matthews over shots. I don't know why.
What's he, 3.5?
3.5 minus 130. You never see the line that low. It is a terrible matchup against the Bruins, but he has cleared even 4.5 in 3 of his last 4 against the Bruins, and he has all the points, and he's got 6 goals in his last 4 games against the Bruins. You got to shoot to score. Great analysis.
Amazing. That's what you get here.
Yeah.
Okay, so we don't have anyone in the queue. Let's start looking at what we're going to cook up parlay-wise.
Okay.
So, do you like Carolina in regulation?
Yep. Minus 120, right?
Yeah.
I do. I like Carolina to win, for sure. I could take the regulation. The only thing that worried me was that 3 out of those 6 wins were
OT or shootout.
Yeah. But
okay,
I mean,
we can stay away from that one. We don't have to chase it. That was just a play that we had there. I want to put that goalie props one into a player prop parlay.
Okay.
I'm in. I do kind of like. I like Matthews shots, but I also like Toronto tonight, so that's a big reason why.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't hate having his shots, Kemper's saves, not shots.
Yeah. There's so many plays that we don't have to like. You like the Matthews one?
I do.
It's scary. It's scary. Let me look. Did you like the Aho one?
I like the Aho one as well.
I have another one that's like, it's juiced though.
Mm-hmm.
Like a Sam Reinhart point. Playing against his hometown team, it's minus 175. It's a good parlay piece.
Throw that in there with Kemper and Matthews.
Mm-hmm.
Make it a 3-teamer. Go goalie, shots, and points.
Yeah.
I should say.
Yeah, that sounds good. Oh, actually, the Bruins aren't. Okay, I like Matthews a lot more now.
Okay.
So, yeah, the Bruins were like dead last. Like, don't target them for shots on goal for a long time, and now they're kind of middle of the pack. So, I guess they've been allowing more shots lately. So, I'm in on Matthews. So we got Kemper saves, Matthews shots, and Reinhart point.
Okay, you cook up what that comes out to. I wouldn't hate doing a 2-team or a 2-player goal prop again.
Okay.
I like Horvat.
Yeah. Does Tampa play tonight? They do. You want to know another stat?
Okay.
Steven Stamkos is sitting at 499 career goals.
He's got 18 on the year.
Mm-hmm.
In 40 games.
And Horvat.
Scored in his last game.
And Horvat's at 199. So why can't we get to 2 milestones tonight?
You want to go the Horvat Stamkos special?
It was just a thought. I haven't looked into him quite yet, but
I can imagine that his shot prop isn't crazy. Or his goal prop, I mean.
What do you mean? Isn't crazy? Like
I'm not thinking that he's going to be like a plus 200 or anything.
Oh no.
But like a plus 150 with a plus 120 has a lot of value.
Yeah. He is plus 135.
Okay. So what does that take us to for a 2-goal prop of that?
That is $417.
I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we have a 2-goal, a 3-player prop. Now, what's our 4 plays? I think you and I are both due for winners.
Well, you'd hope. You're gonna have to cancel this show.
If not, we might just end it our 3rd episode because
it's fun while it lasts, everybody.
So I was on Seattle puck line.
Yeah.
You had the over in Vancouver.
Yeah.
What else have we got then that
we got the Detroit Columbus over.
Did you get it at 6?
Yeah, I'm okay to even buy it down if we want, or look into Detroit's team total instead.
Yeah, actually, because he did give us Detroit team total, which I liked more.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's think about Detroit team total. We'll have to see what the odds are on that,
and I think there's just no way we can't get Vegas money line. We don't get Vegas money line in there. Yeah,
after talking enough about clubbing it and drinking and whatever else, I feel like that has to be a part of it. Plus, I like the minus 130 or 35, depending on what book you have for it. So,
agreed.
Okay, so that's the 4-teamer we're cooking up.
Ooh.
Vegas money line, Seattle puck line, and then Detroit team total, and your Vancouver over.
Yep. What team total are we taking for Detroit?
I would have to see. I'm just pulling it up. Over 3.5 is minus 135.
Okay.
I like them to score 4. So.
Yeah. Okay. That brings us. What is it for you?
I'm just pulling up some of the plays here.
I think I might play all these just straight too.
So, I mean, I'm Bet Regal right now. I'm on a terrible book because I don't have my other phone with me.
Should get a Bet 99, bud.
Tell me about it. I'm sure I'll hear about that later. Kraken. And who am I missing? We had one more that was in there.
Vegas, Canucks over, Detroit team total, and the Kraken.
Okay, what do you have it at?
950.
Yep, that's what I have it at.
Perfect.
All right, so we have the 4-teamer. We've got the player props. We got the goal props. Let's all go have a profitable night. This morning's basketball stream, we're already out to a great start. We had West Virginia. We had Miami both. Florida Atlantic's doing everything that they can to come back in this game. We got 3 minutes to go. They're up 3, and it's minus 3.5. So let's pray for Florida Atlantic. And then if that hits, it's coming down to the Kansas-Iowa State over my play, which was a plus 1230 parlay. So definitely stream next week at 11 a.m. Eastern time. And then we're going to have our hockey stream as well, probably early afternoon next week as well. Appreciate everyone who hopped on and submitted plays. We have the plug, Josh Elliott, Town Pod, Gucci, a lot of great cappers. We're going to have more in the future as well. Tyson, anything you want to say before we go?
No, just wanted to thank everybody for coming on. It was awesome. Thank you for doing a great job hosting yet again. Quick super wild card weekend prediction. Go.
Okay.
No, you go.
Dallas is going to win.
Oh, God. Why did I even ask?
No, okay. Truthfully, I wanted to pick Baltimore if Lamar was going. I wanted to pick them to win outright. But because he's not, I can't do it.
Yeah.
I think Seattle will cover. I think the Chargers will win outright. The rest of the team should take care of business.
Mm-hmm.
And then it'll come down to that Dallas game. I hope that we lose, honestly, because then we might fire Mike McCarthy, but I don't know.
Well, did you see that trend that you guys have? You lose a game, win 4 in a row, lose a game, win 2 in a row. I did see that.
So let's win 4 in a row and let's just win a Super Bowl already. It's not that hard.
It's just that easy. It's just going off history.
What's your Super Wildcard Weekend prediction?
There's absolutely No upsets. All the favorites win. It's chalk. I hate it, but that's like people are overvaluing the Giants, I think. I think the Vikings roll. And people are like, oh, there's so many more stats that back up the Cowboys than the Bucks. But then everyone's ending argument is, but it's Tom Brady.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah. Did you see him this year?
The only reason why we would lose is because Mike McCarthy's terrible situationally in the playoffs. But I think that all 6 winners should take care of business. I think some of these dogs will cover, especially the division matchups. Like, it'll never be in doubt, but it'll be like Bengals are up 14 with like 2 minutes to go. Ravens score, and then the onside.
Another stat I'm hearing or seeing all over TikTok and Twitter and stuff is like Trevor Lawrence has never lost on a Saturday. It's like, this is the NFL. He's played one game. It was last week, and he didn't win the game. His defense won the game. Like, so he's 1-0 on a Saturday. Yeah, it's like they don't play Saturdays.
All right, well, let's have some winners this weekend. I posted all my NFL predictions over on TikTok, so go follow me at HedgePod on all social platforms, at Spittin Picklets as well. Go follow his stuff. We'll see you guys next week for another hockey stream. Way more cappers, way more bets, and let's have a profitable Saturday.